So this is for an online show called Super Coach, and the guy whose show it is, his name is AJ, and there's no freaking clue that I know how to pronounce his surname. I was worrying that it was going to be a video interview because I always feel like I should get my hair blow dried or something, but I can't be bothered. But like you see other women entrepreneurs online doing these sort of like this, like a high level interview. He's a really successful entrepreneur, and he runs a really successful podcast and an online business, and it's a big deal to be on the show. I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm going to do a couple of interviews today, and it's a bit of an unusual, oh my god, 93 notifications since I checked in. I'm really on a fame elevation plan at the moment. I've set a commitment to getting like super famous with my online business, but also just as a public figure and a personality, and I've got a bit of a pact there with a friend who has a similar business to mine and similar goals. We're going to stop just talking about this. This is going to happen. We're writing it down. We're getting serious. I've had a publicist who is amazing, and she's been, and this is one of the shows that I'm on now as a result of the work that she's been doing, but she's getting me hooked up with some pretty high level stuff. We're having a meeting or a conversation I should say, at the moment with Gary V's team, Gary Vaynerchuk's team. That would be like a major fucking big deal. Obviously I don't have to tell you, if you're watching this show then you know who Gary V is, and you know that would be like epic beyond imagination basically to launch the show with him. So actually, you know what? Speaking of Gary V, who always has like an entire team of media following him around and just creating content everywhere, I should be live streaming this while I'm filming, and I probably should have some other person standing there with another phone Snapchatting me. Alright, let's turn the fucking way down, and I have for several months been just like in love with how he'll sit there and you see him filming his show, or you watch an episode of his show on Facebook, and then there'll be like another team member over here who's periscoping him, and another one over here who's live streaming him, and another one over here is Snapchatting. So I'm starting to create my own little media kind of thing going on with that, because if you just jumped on, we've got Matt over here who's filming me today, and we're gonna get a whole bunch of footage. I'm about to do some amazing interviews, some pretty cool high-level interviews. So there's gonna be a cool new podcast launching. So this is like a little bit of a business update. What was I saying? Yeah, my friend Regan and I, we have the Fame Pacts together, and as part of that, we are launching a new podcast, a co-hosted one, where we are gonna be interviewing some pretty freaking high-level, amazing people in the entrepreneurial world, and in the business world, and in the celebrity world, and in all sorts of world, and it's just going to be amazing. And in fact, we're in conversation right now to get our first guest onto that show. Yeah, so the difference between having these like goals and ideas of where you're going to go to in your life and what your one day sort of plans are, versus actually locking them in and going, well, this is going to happen now, right? I am locking it in. It is done. It is so. I've been doing this with my friend Regan for the last couple of days, like I mentioned, and like shit has been blowing up to a level where I can't even quite believe it, right? And I'm like, I just want to share it all right now, but I can't just yet. And it's been such a powerful reminder, because this has happened for me so many times. What was it that got you from here to here, or what was the big thing that changed when your income got to that certain point? And when people ask me that, I'm always like, well, to be honest, it was just that I made up my mind, right? Like I just decided that that's where I'm going to go. That's the level of income or impact that I'm going to have. And I forget that sometimes. And I guess with some of the bigger goals, it's easy to kind of avoid it. Like you don't want to lock it in or say it out loud almost, or you might say it, but you sort of keep it in your mind as a one-day thing. Instead of just being like, well, enough is enough, I'm fucking locking this in. I know it's terrifying, but it's always it's also exciting. And I certainly believe in having, you know, a like-minded like business soul sister, or a mastermind buddy, or obviously mentors, and whoever you can speak to this, you know, whichever people in your life you can speak about this stuff to. My books are getting made into audiobooks. So how cool is that? I know a lot of you guys have read my books. I've got over 40 books on Amazon, all except for one of which are bestsellers. And people have asked me a lot if I can put my books on audio so you can listen to them, and I'm kind of like, oh, I just can't be fucked like talking my whole book out, basically. It would drive me insane. Somebody asked, well, why won't I do that? And I said it, and then one of my clients messaged me and she was like, well, if you like, I'll try it. And I actually said to her, I was like, yeah, look, thank you, but to be honest, I feel really like I've got an ego issue around, I don't want anybody else, I don't want to do it myself, but I don't want anybody else to do it either, because I want it to be my voice. And she was like, totally understand. And then I went to the gym, I think after that, and I was like, you know what, like I want the audiobooks, you guys want the audiobooks, I obviously am not going to record the audiobooks, so get the fuck over yourself. And so I messaged her, I was like, okay, do 5 minutes for me. So she got that through to me last night, and it was really cool. I was kind of cracking up listening to my own stuff being read back to me, and I had it like on my headphones while I was doing some work, and it was like, it was me kicking my own ass, except it was somebody else reading it, but it's an Aussie voice, and she knows my message and my voice really well, so she nailed it. And so we're going to start to get some audiobooks coming up, so that's pretty cool. So look, I need to jump on this interview. Hey, how are you going? Cool, well thank you so much, and God, like I'm so excited to be part of the event in April. That's a huge honor. I'm really looking forward to meeting you and the other speakers and being part of it. The reason I want to be in this group is to elevate the level that I'm thinking at, basically. Giving yourself permission to share your true message with the world, and the reality that you can do that completely and fully by being you. You don't need to put on some sort of performance or mask, whether it's you think you need to present yourself in a certain way physically, or you know, like let's say for me, for example, like my background's in fitness, and that's pretty much how I am most days. I'm wearing my gym gear most days. I kind of still have that, like people sometimes still think that I am still a personal trainer. And like obviously when I get on stage, I'll get dressed appropriately for that. But if I'm doing, let's say, a video for my YouTube show or for Facebook, I'm not gonna go and get my hair blow dried and put makeup on and get out of my gym gear. I'm just gonna do it as who I am. There's no way I would be able to create as much content as I do now if I was worrying about what to say and whether it's appropriate or even whether it's relevant. A lot of the things that I write about or live stream about or create like a video about, they're just random, right? Like it's whatever I've noticed that day, whatever realizations or lessons that I've had, and I'll just share it. I'm not sitting there going, oh, is this gonna like lead into a sale for whatever, or is it gonna, you know, elevate my brand? Like I just don't even worry about that stuff. Thank you, and thank you so much for having me once again, and we'll talk soon. I just finished my first interview for this morning with AJ from Supercoach, and it was pretty kick-ass. I'm great, how are you? Yeah, absolutely, and it's funny because it's one of those things where people will sometimes ask me, well, how do I be authentic? And I feel like, okay, I get why you're asking that, but if you need to ask how to be authentic, then you kind of just lost. You're not being authentic. Right, so the best way to look at it is imagine you are going out to dinner with your best friends, and that you were just gonna have a great evening and hang out. You wouldn't be getting ready and going, oh my God, what am I gonna say tonight? And what should I wear? And how am I gonna hold, or maybe you would wonder what to wear, but how am I gonna hold myself? And how will I present myself to my friends? It would just, like, you wouldn't think about that, right? And so that's what authenticity means in business. That's what I feel it means. I feel it means giving yourself permission to be who you fully are, not to try and say that, you know, I have to be professional in the sense of putting on some kind of persona or mask or something that's not really a reflection of who I actually am as a person. And that, for me, that transcends everything from how I would speak, the language that I use, the tonality that I use, the things that I get excited or passionate or even a bit silly about. And there's been earlier points in my business where I used to really try and like filter down or modify who I really was because I was so concerned with being professional or being, you know, being perceived as even like a real, you know, successful grown-up or something silly like that. Whereas now, it's really, well, what you see is what you get. And I think that the easiest way to bring authenticity into your business is simply to give yourself permission to be who you are and allow your business and your brand, certainly with personal branding, this is important, to be an extension of your life and of what you would see behind the scenes. Hey everyone, it's Kat here from katlatozo.com, and you're listening to the Brand Journalism Advantage. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate you having me on the show and enjoyed doing the call. So I just finished my second interview for today, which was with the Brand Journalism Podcast. It was a really cool interview. You guys want to watch out for that. Now I'm going to head down the beach, do some videos maybe. That's it. So
I'm going to do my video blog for today down on the beach here, just to break up the scenery a little bit, and because also I'm going to go eat something at the cafe after this, so that's what's happening, doing a video blog. Hey, it's Kat here with Entrepreneur Reality TV and the Success Smackdown podcast. I'm sorry about the squinty eye thing, I forgot my sunglasses today, major meltdown. So here's what I want to talk about. People are just people, right? I think that in business, particularly when you're looking to, I guess, elevate in the success arena or in the entrepreneur arena, it's quite normal to feel intimidated or unsure about people who you perceive to be more successful than you. And so I want to give you an example and share a personal story, and just, I guess, drive home the point that people are just real people, right? And I do a lot of interviews each week, probably at least 3 or 4 interviews a week, and sometimes more, right? But often they're with entrepreneurs who I feel like I totally get and know who they already are. In this case, I didn't know who she is. My publicist was able to get me onto this show, which was fantastic. And the thing is with this show is that it's run by someone who has 25 years in broadcasting experience as a news desk personality in San Diego. So that's like a really big fucking deal, right? And also I had questions in advance to prepare. You know, I'm grateful for this opportunity, but I also felt nervous. I felt a little bit intimidated. I felt like, is she gonna like me? Is she gonna think that I'm professional enough or that I'm good enough? And do I need to, you know, speak in a different way or kind of try and be more of a grown-up, basically? And obviously a big part of what I teach is be who you are, be authentic with your personal brand, and you don't have to put on a show. But I can absolutely tell you that with this sort of thing, I feel that same feeling of, oh my God, should I put on a show? And I can tell you that I would feel the same way if I went to like certain conferences or events and I met like big name personalities, celebrity entrepreneurs, or coaches, speakers, authors, leaders. I still have that feeling like, oh, you know, I have to make sure that I act in a certain way in order for them to like me. But the truth is, no, right? Because you're just gonna come across as like stilted and stale and not a real person. It's just like me living my real life, but it's also being a presenter or being an entertainer or being an inspiration or being, I guess, like a personality. I'm more supposed to go behind the scenes and just show what's going on and what's actually happening in my day and my life. So you want to think about it, or I want to think about it like, okay, here's how I'm going to say it. It's like a mixture between Kim Kardashian's show mixed with Ellen, mixed with like Tony Robbins doing his awesome shit on stage. I don't think I need to think about, like, I don't think we need to think about what's like the story or the theme of the episode or something, because that wouldn't really be very real. Because I think that what is important and what matters is that you actually see the reality of what's going on behind the scenes, and that we do have fun with it and do, you know, bring the real life stuff into it as well. But I certainly don't want to try and be like, okay, trying to put on some sort of performance obviously for the camera or do something that I wouldn't normally do. So that's the plan.